ERC, quality service since 1972. Repairing TVs, console stereos, electronic musical instruments, pinball machines, arcade games, and more. Call 836-0454.
You've clicked on the Weather Xtreme video. I'm meteorologist Brian Peters with ABC 3340. And let's get right to a few Skycam images this morning. Here's a view of the sun coming up from the Birmingham Skycam. This is the network only you can get at 3340. And here's Gadsden, looking a little bit hazy around Gadsden this morning, with a good shot of the river down there, and then a few clouds down in the southern part of the state, and it looks like a lot of moisture in the southern part of the state, and that's where we think we'll see most of the showers today. Still dealing with a bit of a weak frontal boundary along the Gulf Coast, southern Alabama, and a little bit drier air filtering into the northern part of the state, so I think most of the showers will be confined to the southern part of the state. And here is the water vapor imagery with the 500 millibar pattern, and that trough we've been dealing with for the last several days is kind of inched a little further to the east and south. And of course we can see down in the lower right corner of the picture, we can see the approaching Faye. And of course Faye is going to be a big part of our future in terms of what's going to happen with the weather. Temperature is still a little bit cooler across the United States, and we get a little bit cooler pocket of colder temperatures, or cooler temperatures, let's say that, in the central Rockies. Still pretty warm in the southwestern U.S. Around central Alabama, we're seeing that little bit drier air. Look at those dew points in the upper 50s across the Tennessee River Valley, and then, of course, the dew points in the 70s in the South Alabama, and we're in the transition zone in central Alabama, but I think most of the showers will be confined to near the Gulf Coast in South Alabama. Here's the regional radar image, and certainly nothing going on this morning. Now here's the satellite view of the tropical Atlantic, and of course the wave in the middle of the Atlantic is no longer being even talked about, and then of course just to the left center is Faye. Here's a closer view of Faye in the visible satellite imagery. And not too much to talk about, although convection is doing pretty well considering the fact that it came across Hispaniola, fighting the tall terrain there. And of course the terrain in the southeastern Cuba is not too helpful, but of course it flattens out. So Faye still likely to at least get close to a minimal hurricane. Now here's the computer model tracks. And it's beginning to be interesting. It looked like it was shifting back to the east yesterday, but now there seem to be two trains of thought, one a little further to the west and one a little further to the east. The interesting thing is that most of the tracks that have come back to the west are the later model runs, 06Z, and whereas that clustering to the east is the 0Z run. So it's going to be really interesting to see. And in the meantime, here is the official track of the National Hurricane Center, and certainly not too different than what it was. And we've got a hurricane watch in effect for the Keys and for southwest Florida. And of course a tropical storm warning is likely too. Now here's the QPF, and of course we can see the effects of two weather systems, one over Texas and one over Florida. The one over Florida, of course, is Faye, and that was going to determine what our weather is like for the next few days. All right, here's the 06Z GFS model run. And you can see the surface map for today at midday around 1 o'clock, and that shows most of the moisture down in the south and most of the showers down there. Looks like we'll see that on Monday, and of course here comes Faye up into the Florida Straits in the vicinity of Key West. There is Faye at the upper levels on Tuesday, looks like over central Florida, as we see a ridge over the north central United States, and still an area of troughiness over Texas. That kind of complicates the whole upper air pattern. By Tuesday, Faye is by the GFS, of course, and that's one of the ones that seems to be holding a little bit more eastward track, is over somewhere in the vicinity of central Florida. By Wednesday, Faye is the upper level reflection of Faye is over the southeast U.S. coast, just off the coast of Georgia, and we can see the storm in the vicinity of about between Jacksonville and Savannah. By Thursday, it's still there, and that's interesting. The large surface high to the north, kind of holding Faye from moving very fast or very far to the north. And then by Friday, it seems to begin to wash out. Now, this track, of course, keeps Faye to our east and keeps us on the west side, and therefore we're not likely to see a great deal of rain. But also notice here on Friday, we see the approach of a new cold front, and that is in response to this trough coming through the north-central part of the United States and through central Canada, and that will be dragging that cold front down into the area for next weekend. And so we may see some pretty good shot at some rain by, say, Sunday or so. And again, this all depends on Faye. And here is the Sunday 500 millibar forecast, and that shows a good reflection of that nice strong trough coming through the westerly flow up there, and that brings the front down into the Ohio River Valley and definitely approaching the Tennessee River Valley by Sunday, and then brings it into the area by Monday. Now, looking out into the future here at long range, this is out in Voodoo country. This is the 1st of September, and what it shows is the building in of that pretty strong ridge, and this is consistent with the forecast yesterday, and that keeps us pretty dry and looks like pretty hot, as thickness values are pretty warm. So our future forecast really still depends on exactly where Faye goes, so we'll be watching that carefully. Appreciate you tuning in to the Weather Extreme video. Hope that you have a great Sunday. James will be back with the next version tomorrow. Hope that you have a great Sunday, and God bless.
Weather.